Welcome everyone to Coffee Chat with Leaders, where we interview Leadership Circle members about themselves, their organization, and a truth that they would love to share about leadership. So I'm here today with Kitty Campbell from Leadership Lafayette. She's been with the organization for, I believe, 8 years? 12 years. Oh,
Time
man.
flies.
Sorry
Time
about
flies.
that.
We've been at Matchbox for 8 years. So
Okay, Matchbox at 8,
yes,
Leadership
yes.
Lafayette for 12.
Yes.
How long has Leadership Lafayette been in existence? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization and what's going on.
Sure. So Leadership Lafayette was founded in 1982. Like many of the programs in the state of Indiana, we were founded by money from the Lilly Foundation and also from the Gannett Corporation, and sprung out of those programs that were trained by Pat and Mary Jo in Richmond. And that's, I think, the state of Indiana and Indiana Leadership Association has such a rich tradition because of that funding and because of the Lilly Foundation investing in our community. And a lot of the community leadership programs, each of them has their own unique flavor depending on what each community needs. But I think what's really special about the state of Indiana, and when you look back at the early 80s, so not unique to our region, but all over the makeup of the nuclear family and the centers for volunteerism. A lot of folks that had been volunteering, the Patron Society, it was just shifting. And so there was a movement, and when you go to the Association of Leadership Programs at the national level, you see that a lot of the programs were founded around the early 80s because of this need for instilling in citizens that you don't need to be, a stay-at-home mom that has so many hours free during the day while kids are in school to go volunteer, but everyone should think about volunteering, because if you don't, nonprofit organizations who are founded on the need for volunteers to support the good work that they do in our communities will cease to exist.
Right, no, definitely. Yeah. That's one of the biggest key components that any leadership organization should aspire is to create those leaders and volunteers that are going to make the difference and continue to do so to keep carrying on these organizations. So in regards to that, you just had a graduation, right?
Yes, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. How was the graduation?
Yes, a graduation was great. We just graduated 57 folks.
Wow.
Yes. So, and it was really great. We were at the Lafayette Theater. Pictures will be coming soon. We actually got last year's class 52, had their picture sent out through the Association of Leadership Programs, because it's a fun historic theater, and so they were doing their fun jazz hands pictures, and under the marquee. So we have such great collaborations here downtown. We've been a member, as I said, with Matchbox Co-working Studio for 8 years. A great collaborative space that we have here. The Long Center, Lafayette Theater, and Loeb Stadium are the 3 L's of presenting organizations that are owned by the city. And Steph Lester graduated from class 50, and so every year, and even prior to Steph, it's a little surprise for the participants, but they get their name on the marquee during our Arts, Culture, and Community Day, and then at graduation, it's downtown, Leadership Lafayette class 53 was on the marquee, and so lots of shout outs, with their graduation awards, certificate from the State House, and then literally their name up in lights, which is fun.
Yeah,
so we try to give them the red carpet.
No, that is definitely red carpet. I love that.
Yeah.
So you just had 57 graduate this year.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
That's okay.
Do you remember roughly how many you had throughout your 12 years?
Oh, throughout my 12 years, well, those have shifted because my first cohort was 36 folks. That was class 42. And when I came on board almost 12 years ago, it'll be 12 years next month, they had already gone through the selection process. And our target was 40 people. So I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna have some recruiting to do and some outreach and rebuilding. And the next year, we had 43. In class 43, which was kind of fun. And then got to class 48, and we were turning away so many folks, and some people from both the university and the chamber and Greater Lafayette Commerce and some of the different town and gown associations said we really need more servant leaders and more volunteers in the community, because our community is growing, but you're still only giving us 40 people a year. So what can we do to help that? And back in the day before I came on board, at one point in time, you may wonder why do we only have 42 years of history but 53 classes? Well, there was a point in time when there was a fall cohort, similar to what you do at Leadership Montgomery County, or Montgomery County Leadership Association. Did I get it right?
Montgomery County Leadership
There we go.
Academy.
Everybody's
That's all I know. Everyone's got something going on.
I know. It was so funny. Chuck Loring used to joke about, it's like, oh, whenever you want to get to a new community and find out what's going on, you go to name of the town, leadership, fill in the blank, name of the town. And, it's like, but it can't. I'm like, well, Chuck, it can be the county, or it can be a leadership academy, like Hamilton County has that as well. But anyway, we all have the same goal of servant leadership, which is great. But anyway, so they basically said we need more folks out there, and so we had 2 cohorts, and a fall and a spring. But then you hit the economic downturn of 2008, and this again is before my time with the organization. But it was harder for people when their organizations have become lean to give employees release time from work on a weekly basis. So a lot of, again, on a national level, a lot of community leadership programs responded to that by going to a once a month model. And so we shifted to that as an organization, and our model now is after Labor Day, before Memorial Day. So we have a 2-day opening retreat, the middle of September, middle to end of this September, depending on how calendars fall. You have to flex and flow with everything going on in the community, looking at all the the different religious holidays of all different faith traditions, and and trying to partner with folks to not step on toes as much as possible, to make it work for a diverse group of folks to come together in the community, from for-profit, nonprofit, all of that. So that's what we do now is a 9-month program. But circling back, that was a long walk to your question of how many people in 12 years. I'm not sure how many people in 12 years, but in 42 years, we've had over 1,800 people go through the program. So yes,
amazing.
It is. It's
awesome.
really cool. And our alumni directory is part of our website. So if you go to the Connect tab of leadershiplafayette.org, there's an alumni tab, and you can search either by participant name or by their class. And we have, our flagship program is the one that's endured the test of time. So that's the Community Leadership Program. But there were 2 other programs that had a shorter span of time, a Career Leadership Academy. There you go. And actually, I believe the original name of Leadership Lafayette when it was founded was the Greater Lafayette Leadership Academy. So GLLA. But Leadership Lafayette just has, just such a nice,
short, sweet, to the point.
And we had a government program as well. And actually, because Leadership Lafayette is so catchy, Louisiana liked it too. Now, I don't know who came first. I do not know.
Oh, no.
And then also, fun fact, there is a Leadership Lafayette in Mississippi because there's a Lafayette County.
Okay.
So we've only gotten 1 Mississippi application in my tenure. However, every year we get at least 1, if not multiple, Louisiana residents that are interested, and so we try to point them in the right direction. And even on our landing page for the application, it says, "Thank you so much for your intention, or your interest in serving Greater Lafayette, Indiana." So we're like, come on, people.
Yeah, you gotta read. You gotta read.
But they, for somebody to go through the whole process, it probably takes 45 minutes to get through the application, just, your statements of purpose and intention.
Right,
Plus, you've
right.
got some, you got to get a personal and professional reference, and we've added, an option to upload a volunteer resume and a professional resume, and even do a little soundbite for some of those folks that this is a new experiment this year. For some of those folks that writing is not their thing, and and maybe they're not savvy with Chat GPT. We obviously don't recommend that.
Right.
It's come from your heart and from you, but
Right.
but anyway, we also have a soundbite because some people prefer to talk
no,
rather than write. So
I
we're
love
trying.
that. Yes.
We're trying to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And also scholarships. We are so fortunate. Our tuition cost is less than half of program delivery. It's kind of like when you go to the theater and you see a concert or a show, that ticket price isn't covering all the production expenses. And same thing with community leadership programs. It's pretty lean, lots of in-kind contributions and stuff like that. So we have, as we were walking around the co-working space, a lot of the community partners in town are very gracious, very supportive, and they support people through the program. They also give corporate donations, and then also we just now received $25,000 grant from the Arconic Foundation for scholarships.
Awesome.
So we also realize that people who are supporting their own tuition, or if they're from a nonprofit organization or a small business or an entrepreneur, $2,000 when you think of professional development is not that much unless your budget can't support that.
No, it's completely fair.
And we really, when I was talking to some peers from Leadership Asheville in North Carolina, they said, how do you get so many nonprofit organizations? Like, well, we support that. And they said, oh, we have a scholarship. And I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know what they've got going now, but at the time, their tuition was $2,800, and they had one $400 scholarship. So that nonprofit organization would still have to come up with $2,400, which they had no problem filling 50 seats, but it was a lot of companies. So we really want to make sure that we have people of all ages, all stages in life, representing all different facets of our community, because that's what really makes it special with community leadership is that that integration of private and public partnerships that happen, and the folks in the trenches doing the grassroots good work of nonprofit organizations and the organizations that can help support that.
Definitely. So, Kitty, I appreciate you sharing a little bit about your organization, about what you guys have been doing here within the Tippecanoe County / Lafayette area. That's so amazing. But I need to ask you, what is your one leadership truth? If you could share something that you believe in your core, something that you're like, this is what I would love to tell everyone out there. What is it?
Well, I think it's that authenticity. I mean, that's what we look for in our applications. That's what we look for in the model of a good servant leader, of someone who truly has the right intentions for serving their community. So at an Association of Leadership Programs conference, you always come away with these great tidbits of like, oh wow, these aha moments. And one of them, and it was really cool, and they said, we don't even put a company name on our name tags for the opening retreat. We just put their first name. And I kind of went, oh, we have engraved name tags now, we can't do that. But their intention was, it's about the person. And it is a unique, very sincere, authentic. Now you may be, in the United States especially, we have this paradigm of like, who are you? And people will come back with how they make their living as a response. But that's not necessarily at the core of who you are as a person. So we, from the opening retreat, welcoming moments, really tried to get at that. Who are you? What do you care about? How do you want to serve? And have that as the overarching theme to the whole experience, but then also hopefully carry that forward in life. Show up authentically and realize too that we're all evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you care about and who you are at this point in time may evolve over time.
Right.
Maybe you've got small children, maybe you don't have the resources yet to do some of the things you might aspire to later in life. And so just being open, being aware and understanding of what do I care about, what are the gifts that I have, what makes me unique to be able to help, and then really authentically seeking out organizations and finding out where they need the help.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was our last session right before the Volunteer Expo, which was the capstone project for Class 53, for the first time in the fairgrounds. So we're always evolving and we're iterating. Yeah. But the last session was like, okay, now how can you be helpful? And it's not just I'm a warm body here. Mm-hmm. I'm not on a letterhead on a board. Yeah. It's organizations need that to be compliant with what they do as a 501c3. However, maybe showing up and actually, volunteering at an event or being on a task force or, sharing resources, bringing your family out to help. Yeah. There's all kinds of different ways that you can serve. And it's not all about, not everybody has to be or even should be a board president. Mm-hmm. We need those. Yeah, Don't get me wrong. You gotta have them. You gotta have them. But just being cognizant of, how can I serve and how does it help?
Yeah, and I think that's beautiful. Like the fact of authenticity being, coming as your true self, not just I work at XYZ or I am, XYZ person or title. Right. It's more than that. It's being, I care about this organization. This is why I volunteered, and this is how I can contribute to them. And if they can figure that out and say, maybe my gift isn't to be the board president, maybe my gift is not to be the VP, but it is to be present at all meetings or be present at certain events, or it is maybe I'm really good at marketing, maybe I'm really good at XYZ, whatever it might be.
Right.
But you showing up in that authentic way could be what that organization needs. So I love that. Thank you so much for that and sharing it. We really appreciate that. So once again, we're with Kitty Campbell, Leadership Lafayette, here in Tippecanoe County. So we're so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for taking some time talking with me, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.